What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Gray Media. This is Josh here, checking in on you out there in YouTube land. As usual, YouTube, happy Saturday. Saturday nights are great for horror films. Saturday nights are great for action films. Saturday nights are great for thrillers. Saturday nights are great for sci-fi. You can kind of see where I'm going here. I think that next to Friday night and a pizza, it doesn't get any better than watching a great film on Saturday night. So tonight, I want to go all the way back to my roots, back to one of those horror, thriller, action kind of combo films that really like an event, an extravaganza, a film that was going to scare 80s kids for an entire generation, a film that I think was the real damn deal, y'all. A lean, mean attitude adjustment through the eyes of the law, no less. I'll buy that for $1, right? Let's go way back in time tonight, back to the era of He-Man, Super Mario 2, and the Ghostbusters Proton Pack toys. Back to when you got your McDonald's in a styrofoam container, right? The 3-piece cabinet stereo that your grandfather had. You know, it was glass and you had to push the button, it like ejected, right? The Zenith Entertainment System that was built into the wall, it seemed like it was so heavy. Shag carpets, wood paneling, Snackwell treats, Jolt Cola. Alas, those were just the days of my youth, and whatever was on the boob tube was what I ended up consuming. And lucky for me, more often than not, I had the worst of the worst when it came to like childcare and babysitters. Really just young boy crazy cousins or, friends of a family, a small clan, me and my brother and sisters, that someone had to keep alive for 3 or 4 hours while my parents went out to have any sort of life. And I think that's what weighs on me now most, having children, like how horrible would have to times that by 3. How much work. Anyway, that's right. So when they wanted to go watch a movie in the theater, I was left in the capable hands of someone like a cousin or a next door neighbor that was a couple years older than me, and whatever they were watching, I was watching, right? So anyway, it had to be 1989 or 1990 because I was barely old enough to pour the milk, but I could definitely pretend to be asleep and do a bang up job just long enough to watch an adult hard R-rated films when it was going down. You know what I'm talking about? That fake sleep you did? Dude, I'm telling you right now, whether I was 7 or 8, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter because I was seeing something that was supposed to be a symbol of protection, a symbol of comfort. The Detroit City Police Force reduced to pure anarchy and madness. To this day, when this film boots up and that Orion logo goes across the screen, it gives me goosebumps, man. There's only a few movies. I mean, I love Orion films, but there's ones that are just tattooed into my brain, that Orion's logo. And I'm telling you right now, man, when Robocop starts, I just get my easy chair. I just grab a little blanket, right? I turn up the volume, I crack a beer. I'm in the best mood. The best. I did this last night. I can do this a couple of times a year. Robocop, for me, is one of those few films that when looking back on it, there was a lot of films, I guess I should say, that weren't horror, but they were horror adjacent. Action films, right, that had like horrific elements, especially in the 80s. You could watch a PG movie, something like Indiana Jones, The Goonies, right? All of those films. You'd just be watching, all of a sudden there would be the scariest shit you can ever imagine happening. And a lot of that Lucasfilms, it was just Poltergeist, right? Like it would just hit you as a kid. And there's only a couple. There's 3 that I think of all the time. The Terminator, Predator, and Robocop. This film means a hell of a lot to me. Thanks for being here. Let's break this down. 1987's Robocop is an all-out assault on the senses, a film way before its time that was tapping into something meta in reality and TV overconsumption, greed, corporate identity, all that stuff, about like 10 years earlier than it was supposed to be. For those unaware, well shit, what are you actually doing? This is what you've chosen to do with your Saturday night? This is what you're doing with your life right now? Watching my channel where I ran for days on end with my dick and fart jokes? Please, just pause this. Come back later after viewing one of the best films of the 80s. I'm not mad. I'm not even disappointed. I won't even tell anybody. Let's just fix it. You're better than that. Robocop, in the simplest terms, is a badass tour de force of everything that made movies in the 1980s great. Action, F-bombs, graphic violence, futuristic tech, drugs, crime, body horror, and graphic gore. Robocop at its core is a sci-fi action film set in crime-ridden Detroit. The story follows police officer Alex Murphy, who was brutally killed by criminals. In a twist, he is resurrected as a cyborg law enforcement officer called Robocop. As the rootin' tootin' titular character, he possesses superhuman strength and advanced technology, but he also struggles with memories of his past life. After Alex Murphy's tragic death, the mega corporation OCP, standing for Omni Consumer Products, takes control of the police force in Detroit. This is where things get a little bit hairy and a little bit sketch for Alex Murphy. They create Robocop as a solution to rampant crime, believing that a powerful robotic enforcer will, actually restore some order. As Robocop enforces the law, however, he begins to uncover the dark realities of the world around him, including the corruption within the OCP and the violent criminals he now faces. His programming prioritizes law enforcement, but it conflicts with his lingering human emotions and memories, which becomes kind of like this inner struggle. He has this inner dialogue. He wasn't supposed to remember all of this shit. And that's where this film becomes interesting. The first scene of impact on my prepubescent mind was within the first 10 minutes when the ED was tasked with, I can't say that with a straight face. I'm not cutting that. When the ED was tasked with disarming a volunteer through a simulation. You have 20 seconds to comply. Wait, what? You now have 15 seconds to comply. The damn robot officer growls and lunges forward. You have 10 seconds to comply. Somebody cut the power to this goddamn thing. I am now authorized to use lethal force. Dude, holy fucking shit. That poor feller was blasted halfway across the room with round after round as the blood and bullet hole shreds him to pieces. That boardroom scene, it gave me nightmares, man. I was like, there's something that's really scary about this movie that happens in the daytime. And I was watching it at night and I was like, why? And there's like this weird kind of stop motion to it, this like animation to the special effects, right? There's not a lot of CGI, so it's like, it's just coming at him all crazy. And that weirded me out as a little kid. It scared me half to death. The second scene of note was Murphy's brutal shotgun gang attack in the industrial wasteland, where we see, Red Foreman coming after him, dude. The first time I seen good old Red Foreman using that shotgun as a tractor beam, right? That gore when he just blows his hand off, dude. That is life-changing. I think that moment right there where I was like, I'm a horror fan now. I don't think this is supposed to be a horror film, but that scene was so horrific. And then the rest of the gang and crew just take shot after shot after shot with shotguns and firearms. They just blow him to bits. The gore in that scene, the Rob Bottin effects, man, the bullet hole through the back, it was so good, like so good. I mean, and I know that's like a parody now, like on Family Guy, and everybody kind of jokes about the gore in Robocop, but that was no joke when I was 7, 8, like 1990. I'm telling you, man, it was so good. It was just unbelievably gory. Unfortunately for Murph, though, right? Like, he has to relive that. The film shifts to kind of like a body horror at that point where he has to like kind of attempt to reanimate this downed officer, and he relives each and every gunshot over and over, the limb removal as his body is resurrected and brought back online. This time as Robocop. That scene is so effective. I mean, it is so damn effective. My other go-to scene that has lived rent-free in my head from Robocop has got to be the toxic waste spill scene. That toxic waste spill scene, holy shit, dude. When that dude is in that truck and he goes into that toxic container and it just starts pouring, like, you already know something bad's gonna happen. Because he's kind of like the ugly guy that you feel like, he's kind of like one of those characters from The Crow that's gonna eat a bullet. You can just tell something bad's gonna happen. And the toxic sludge and waste goes pouring out the back of the van, and he's just like in there trying to like pull himself out, and the flesh is like falling off of his hands, and he's kind of got this like limp arm, right? And he's just like, oh my God. That scene is so good, dude. It was so effective, man. Nobody will help him, right? Nobody. So then he's just like dragging his arm, running through, and then all of a sudden, dude's driving those stupid Fords, those Tauruses at full speed. Splat. that splat scene, right, with the watermelon and the pig intestine, it just goes everywhere. And how this film got an R rating. I mean, I know that it started off as an X-rated film, and then they started cutting seconds out of the film to try to make it an R. There's an awesome like behind the scenes kind of stuff on the movies that made us. There's tons of special features on all the different 4Ks, Criterion, right, arrows, whatever you pick up on Robocop. That scene, dude, that dude is just an utter turmoil. It freaked me out. I love it whenever I think of like body horror and the melting man. It's just neat. It's just neat, dude. It's one of my favorite scenes. I mean, for horror fans especially, the violence and the transformation of human into a machine, there's all the makings for body horror. Like, it's all just right there. It delivers nonstop gore with shocking impact. It's a must-watch, dude. It's you already know this, right? And then we got to talk about the end scene with Boddicker, right, with Red Foreman. There's some cool scenes where that dude's just like hanging out with those lady friends, right? And he's doing some of that booger sugar, some of that devil's dandruff, you know what I'm saying, daddy? Right? And then all of a sudden, Red Foreman comes running in, Boddicker, and he's got the gun, and you think he might just shoot him in the leg once, shoots him 5, 6, 7, 8, like just unloads on this dude's legs, man. And of course, there's an evil subplot, but that scene's awesome. But the final standoff at the end with Red Foreman, he like gets into that wreck and his face is bleeding, right? That is such an iconic shot from 80s action, 80s horror, 80s sci-fi, whatever you want to say, man. There's that scene, dude, is something special, something important to. I fucking love Robocop so much, man. I don't even, any time of the year, no matter what I'm doing, no matter how I'm feeling, I put Robocop on and I'm like transported back to being that 7-year-old kid watching when you're not supposed to. It changed my life when I seen it, and I'm such a huge fan of this film. Look at this VHS I got from my buddy Retro Joe. Are you kidding me, dude? Orion Films, Robocop, one of the best films of all time. I'm saying it right here. We don't get that many sci-fi horrors, right? We get The Fly, we get Alien, we only get a few. And Robocop is one of those ones that teeters on the edge. The gang violence, that's just mean. It's mean-spirited, and when Robocop's, right, Murphy's got that firearm, it's like every shot, everyone's running to see him, like just take some target practice. Dude, Robocop kills. It slays, it fucks, it's everything, man. If you want to see more from me, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think about Robocop down there in the comments below. If you just want to have a great time, I know this isn't the 4K either. I don't want to hear about that. This looks so good. It looks so good, the Aero transfer on my 4K player. It looks 4K to me. So I never upgraded, okay? I probably need it because I got it on DVD, I got it on VHS, right? And then you got to get into like, do you do the theatrical cut or do you do the director's cut? Director's isn't that much longer. It's got just a couple more seconds of scenes, right? I know that's a big debate, but this Aero Steelbook, I mean, get out of here with that. Look at this thing. One of the discs is missing because I watched it last night because it's one of my favorite films. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, dude. Robocop, any day of the week, anytime you're just like needing a little pick-me-up, right? Just a little hit, throw Robocop on.